email.
Okay, I got it.
What's up? What's up? We're live. We're recording everything black. Uh, a, a, a status. What the hell? She ain't on here. But anyway, the comedian, the Vogue, is here. She's not on camera yet, but she having a problem with her
My
phone.
phone is over here doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah. As soon as she get on, we'll go ahead and get ready to start this show. We're gonna talk about the sellouts tonight, the sellout groups, and here she is right here.
Much
All right,
better
you
too.
in? You in?
I'm in there, bro.
We got Anesthesia the Vogue. Did I say it
Yes.
right?
Okay. Anastasia the Bold, Anastasia, either one.
Yeah, Anastasius the Bold is here with us tonight. We're gonna talk about the black group sellouts like the Black Caucus, the NAACP, the what is it called? The Union. The third one is called the what? The Urban League.
Urban League.
Yeah, we're gonna go through a little history on these groups and see. Uh-oh. I don't know if she failed. I don't know what happened to her.
Look, Black Lives Matter. I said Black Lives Matter. They can't hit my phone.
Black Lives Matter. All these groups that say they represent black people, but they don't. We may not prove all that tonight, but we are going to look at how these organizations got started. And then we'll go deep into each one later on in our endeavor to create a black bloc. This is everything black, and this is about black issues. I mean, that's what the whole show is about. Sometimes we have fun, on different topics, but tonight is a serious topic because black people need a black bloc. We need a black organization that's really down for us, that's really about our issues. We don't need the Black Caucus who call themselves down for black people, or they use the word Black Caucus, but they don't do nothing for black people. And they're gonna even say that when they, as you watch the history of this little show here, you'll see the guy say, "Oh, I just named it Black Caucus." He didn't really mean that he was gonna help black people. He just named it that. So
wow,
you'll hear him say it.
Really?
So let me start this thing.
That's deep.
We're here not to discuss transportation, but to discuss education.
In 1971, with just over a dozen African American lawmakers serving in Congress, the Congressional Black Caucus was formed to help amplify their voice in an institution that wasn't always welcoming.
Even in the House of Representatives, black folks just was not expected, and indeed wasn't wanted.
At 90 years old, former New York Representative Charles Rangel is one of the last surviving founders of the group.
But you actually came up with the name Congressional Black
Listen
Caucus.
Just the name. We all had a common mission and a common goal to improve the quality of life for America, and especially minority Americans.
Now you see he just said just the name.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to talk about nothing for black people. They just used the name to get us in the door, They didn't want black people around them, but they wasn't fighting for black liberations or issues. As we continue, we'll see that they mention minorities when they talk. Watch this. Let me get back over here.
Rangel, Shirley Chisholm, Charles Diggs, and the other original members quickly met resistance when former President Nixon refused to meet with them.
The courtesy should be extended to us.
Fair use YouTube, Facebook, this is for educational purposes.
To meet. We
Fair
then
use.
said then we will not attend the State of the Union message.
After boycotting Nixon's address, they finally got the meeting, putting the CBC on the map and opening the halls of power.
The caucus as a whole, of course, was gravely concerned
with their core nonpartisan principle: no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, just permanent interest.
Shirley's with me today.
California Congresswoman Barbara Lee still has Shirley Chisholm's pearls. She worked on her 1972 presidential campaign and later as chief of staff for Ron Dellums, learning firsthand from two of the caucus's original members.
That's how I got involved in politics. It was just quite a remarkable moment for me as a young Black woman raising two kids as a single mom to see how the Congressional Black Caucus and its founders really did step out there and fight for the African American community.
Historically, a Democratic
Now, she said they fought for the African American community. Have you ever heard of anything they fought for us for?
I have never even heard of them.
You ain't never heard of the Black Caucus?
And Black Caucus sound like Caucasian to me, like the caucus.
Right. Well, see, that you know, that sounds like you're right, because they are Black people that mainly do what the white people give them.
Yeah, that whole name sound like some BS to me. Black Caucus, and I'm like, caucus is the short term for Caucasian. Caucus Mountain.
Right. They do exactly what the caucus say.
And see,
and you know what? This is the biggest group in Congress. They like 300 some members, I think now. They're big. They the biggest group in the Congress, which means they have more rights to push things through.
You know, I don't know if you might remember this, but back in the day, Sesame Street used to have a little cartoon that came on that said, "I'm Mr. Bill on Capitol Hill," and it would try to tell us that the presidential election wasn't as important as making sure your Congress and that's the people that say yay or nay. The president gets it after these nuts do what they do. But I noticed that they have stopped pushing us to pay attention to that, and now the only thing they tell us about is the presidential elections.
Right.
And nobody pay attention to the
local,
the Congress, all that stuff. Nobody to that. The Senate, none of that.
Right. So that's what we're gonna try to do. We're gonna try to, in future shows, we're gonna get into all these groups. Right now, I'm just kind of going over the history of them.
Okay.
I'm gonna find out in next show how many members it is. I think it's at least, I want to say 50 of these folks.
Wow.
But they the biggest group in Congress. They can push a lot of bills through if they wanted to, but they don't. You know, they could get us this reparation money, but they don't care. They just there as what you call it, symbols.
Yeah, to act like they holding a space for us. They say space.
Right. And most of them are immigrants now. From what I understand, most of these people are not from this country.
Wow, that makes
they represent us.
That causes a bigger separation.
Right. So we're gonna dive into each member eventually, but right now we're just talking about the history of them. You kind of see. I'm not gonna stay on here long because YouTube be tripping. But she fell off.
I'm here, Bo.
Okay, but what we're gonna do is we just found out that it started out with 13 members, and I think they're gonna name them here in a minute. Let me get back over here.
It has 58 members at the latest count.
Okay.
African Americans.
Power Center. CBC.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The group includes African American members of the United States Congress who advocate for issues affecting the African American community and other marginalized groups.
See, they say they represent us, but they mainly represent other marginalized groups.
Well, see, Hakeem Jeffries is from New York. Maxine Waters is from California. Nancy Pelosi doesn't sound black, but that's California. That's also California. Cory Booker is the senator of New Jersey, and Senator Raphael Warnock is from Georgia.
Right. Now that's a black dude. Those are all the Congress members on the Democrat side. They're not just the black members.
Okay, so this is from both the House of Representatives and the Senate. And
right.
Okay.
So it's 50 of them in all?
58.
58, okay. So like I say, they control most of the seats in Congress.
Okay.
So they can pass some stuff through if they wanted to. They the biggest block there in Congress, I'm gonna say.
And right now, Hakeem Jeffries is the chairman.
Right.
Congressional Black Caucus, and he serves as the chair. He took leadership in 2023.
Okay. And we're gonna check him out. When we go into who he is and all that, we're gonna find out that a lot of them don't like him. And they ready to push him out. He was appointed by, I think, that dude named shit. What's his last? I know his name is Clayton something. I'm gonna have all that together next show. But dang, I can't think of the name of the congressman who put him together. But he out of, I think, South Carolina or North Carolina, one of the two.
James Clyburn.
That's him, James Clyburn. He the one put him in that seat.
Yeah, he the whip.
Yeah, he the whip. He works with Biden. Him and Biden real close.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't know what to do when they kicked Biden out of there. He didn't know what to do.
Okay.
So that's the guy that actually run the show, Jim Clyburn.
So he's the one responsible for mobilizing the members for votes and ensuring that the party is disciplined.
Right.
Ain't that something?
Yeah. Read that again.
What do they actually mean by discipline, though?
That's what I'm saying. Read that again to make sure everybody hear you.
It says that his job is to ensure he is responsible for mobile members. He's responsible for mobile members, mobilizing the members for votes and ensuring party discipline.
Right. So he get on your butt when you get out of line. Am I right?
I'm guessing that's what that means.
I mean, what other discipline?
His name is called the Whip. That's even crazy to me. His title is WHIP.
Right.
Wow.
He's a whip for the white man to get on the Negroes to get them in line.
So basically, the whip is in the Congressional Black Caucus plays a crucial role in ensuring that the members are aligned on the legislative priorities and effectively mobilized for votes. They do the vote counting, how many members plan to vote on an upcoming legislation, helping to gauge support and opposition within the caucus. Communication, they serve as the key communication link between the caucus leadership and the members. They share the important updates on legislative activities and caucus positions. Right. And the whip encourages members to participate in votes and debates, reinforcing the importance of unity and presence in decision-making process. And then they do strategy development, where they formulate the strategies for advocating the Black Caucus legislative agenda and addressing the challenges that may arise. Now, the representation, they represent the CBC in discussions with other party leaders and committees to advocate for the needs and interests of African Americans and marginalized communities. But if they're not in our community, how are they advocating for our needs and interests if they're not talking to us? Because I don't know none of these people and haven't talked to them. So
that's the deal.
They can't be doing what they saying they doing if they're not talking to the people.
Right. They don't talk to us. They just go in there and think that they represent us because apparently somebody voted them in. Somebody voted them in. You see what I'm saying? Like North Carolina, where is he from? North Carolina?
South Carolina.
Okay, South Carolina votes him in every year. for the last 50-some years, I believe.
That's crazy.
And he ain't done shit for him.
That's crazy.
And that's what I'm saying.
But I be thinking that sometimes these people get financial kickbacks to keep certain people in office.
Oh yeah.
I think that even happens at the city of Dallas. I don't think no member should be able to be on the board more than 10 to 15 years. After that, it's no longer a board. Now y'all making a coup.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't even be that long.
I don't think that either. I just said a lower number than what they currently been keeping their 21 years like it's a job, and this is a seat that needs to be changed based on the things going on with the time. It don't need to be the same person in there with the same thoughts and visions.
Right. Like, see, Kamala Harris, it is shown that she was putting money in these folks' pockets. And corporations put money in these folks' pockets.
Okay.
And that's what make them go a certain way. Because they got to be funded. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So if they say, well, look, we're going to kick, you get the black people or the black members on this committee to vote this way, y'all remain in y'all seats. We'll give you whatever you need to beat your opponent. You see what I'm saying? That's how they stay in power.
This is crazy. This is Nino Brown crap.
You know what I'm saying? So
my brother's keeper.
Right. So that's how they do it. And then they call themselves representing up, but they say black African American, but then you say who else they got added on there after that? They represent. When you was reading that.
They basically just said us. They didn't say nobody else.
Yeah, they said African American and marginalized people.
Let me see. African American, no. Advocating for policies that benefit the African American community and addressing social and economic justice issues. Leadership roles can change, so it's always a good idea to make sure that you're staying in tune with what's going on with your Congress.
That's right. That's one thing we need to do, start paying attention to this crap.
But they don't even have another nationality listed. This is advocating for policies that benefit the African American community and addressing social and economic justice issues. But I know they're not advocating. They're not addressing social or economic issues because we still going through.
Right. So Google what economics issue have they fixed for African Americans. See if it show up on your end.
What economic issues
do the Black Caucus advocate for black people on? What issues have they got through? What have they done?
What economic issues have they resolved?
Yeah, for black people. The Black Caucus.
Have they resolved for the African American community?
Right.
And they so technical. And they ain't got nobody else listed either.
So what they say?
So it has 6 things they say that these are initiatives. An initiative means I'm getting started, but I ain't did nothing yet.
Yeah, I ain't gonna finish it. I'm gonna start it, but I ain't gonna finish it. So what they call themselves starting?
So the Congressional Black Caucus has historically addressed various economic issues. Some of the key areas that they focus on include access to capital. They have advocated for policies that improve access to financial resources for Black-owned businesses. This includes supports for initiatives like the SBA, programs tailored for minority-owned enterprises. That's a lie.
Hold on, that's what I'm saying. They name it something else. They don't say for black people. They say minorities. That includes everybody else. That's supposed to be for us, but they add minorities into it.
And that's another thing that I feel like we need to start advocating for as the people. Like, we need the verbiage to be clear and uncut, because if you're talking in a language that I don't understand, it's almost like you're talking foreign to me. And you can tell me something and I can be saying yes to it because you know how to articulate and use key words that make me think you're talking to me. But you're saying African American or Black owned, you're talking to me. But when you say minority owned businesses, minority owned can include Asians and other people, because
and white women,
they're not from here, and white people, depending on what kind of financial bracket they fall in.
Right.
And then it says job creation. They've pushed for legislation aimed at creating jobs opportunity in economically disadvantaged areas, often supporting workforce development programs and investments in infrastructure. But what does investments in infrastructure have to do with getting people job opportunities? Because the only people working those type of jobs is Hispanic people. Ain't nobody out here trying to get the prison workers who actually been doing infrastructure while they were in prison. That's another thing. I feel this is, and this is kind of off topic, but still on topic.
Go ahead.
I feel like when people are in prison, they send all those prisoners to work for those jobs. They send all those prisoners to work at those big companies and to do all the stuff that they need to do. But those prisoners that did the work for free can't get the job when they get out.
Right. Because
I don't think that's that way. I think that something in the system should say if they're doing a good job while they're in prison, it should naturally open the gateway that when they get out of prison, they can transition to employment.
Well, they want the door to close when they get out, so they can be right back where they were.
But you want to use me for your labor for free while I'm your slave.
Right.
When I'm able to earn a wage, I'm not eligible because of my background, but I was working for you with my background while I was in prison.
Well, that's what slavery turned into.
Oh, I know.
Once you commit a crime,
paid for the legal slavery.
That's what it is.
So they could help keep us behind the fence. They kept the same bars.
Yeah.
And they put big picket fence up with some more barbed wire.
Right. So they look at it like this: if they get out there, can't find a job, they're gonna commit a crime again. They'll be right back in here working for us for pennies instead of us hiring them and giving them a good salary. That's how they do it.
More money off of recidivism than they do employment.
Right. So we're gonna go and check out another group called the let me get rid of this one.
But the CBC is not doing a whole lot for the community.
No, hell no. We're gonna see what the NAACP
do. Together letters, or I do feel like we need to start putting together, getting like a million names on something that we as a people come up with that we want to take to them and say, hey, y'all supposed to be doing this, but in our we're not seeing where there's any difference being made. What are y'all doing? And then I think some of these city officials need to be held accountable. Like they be getting out, like Dallas, Texas. We have over $6.5 billion in the city of Dallas for them to pour into small businesses in the communities like South Dallas and stuff like that, that's underprivileged communities. What they did, and I know this to be true for myself.
Okay.
People done all the houses that were supposed to be for people that was already in the community to move to a better level. They sold houses to Hispanic people and then said, well, the people didn't come. They didn't come. Right. Out and put the message out. They didn't know.
Right.
It's crazy. Go ahead, bro.
All right. So we're going to look at the historic information on the NAACP, the other so-called black organization.
The other Black Lives Don't Matter.
Right. We're going to look at their little history.
In the early 1900s, vicious attacks against African Americans were almost as common in the North as in the South. In the summer of 1908, a white mob attacked African Americans in Springfield, Illinois. During the riot, 2 black men were lynched, dozens more injured, and homes and businesses were destroyed and burned. Thousands of African Americans fled the city in search of safety.
And this riot in the hometown of Abraham Lincoln really upsets a lot of people who had hoped for better. for American race relations.
After the Springfield riot, William E. Walling, a white Harvard-educated socialist and labor reformer from Kentucky, wrote an article for a liberal periodical, The Independent, and described the violence against African Americans. Disturbed by the increasing number of attacks against blacks, he called for a large and powerful body of citizens to come to their aid.
Many whites and blacks saw the need for an organization that would be a kind of national presence, both in speaking out against this kind of racial terrorism, but also beginning to advocate politically and legally for the rights of African Americans.
Bro, use YouTube, Facebook.
Mary Ovington, a journalist and reformer, responded to Walling's article. On February 12th,
I think it's so crazy, even if I watch
Abraham Lincoln's birthday, Ovington
they
and Walling
always white
national to address racial justice.
To look like they trying to save us rather than us.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Educators, reformers, and lawyers met in New York City and established the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People.
Its founders,
you notice they
not
said
only
colored
leaders such as W.E.B. Du
people,
Bois,
so that
but
could be different
like Jane Addams,
shades.
Rabbi Stephen Wise.
That's another word that can be.
That's what I'm saying.
Finagle.
The mission of the NAACP was to end forced segregation and racial violence and to ensure civil liberties for all. In 1915, lawyers for the NAACP won a Supreme Court case which ruled that the grandfather clause used by some states to stop blacks from voting was unconstitutional. Another early success came in 1917 when the Supreme Court declared segregated housing was unconstitutional.
They focused on litigation, changing the laws, and so therefore they lobbied through Congress and with the president to get the federal government to transform state laws to ensure the civil rights of blacks, but also education. They believed that you could change the hearts of white America if you could re-educate them.
One way the NAACP re-educated people was through a monthly magazine called The Crisis. The magazine, edited by W.E.B. Du Bois, served as a newspaper, a literary review, and a voice for the rights of men irrespective of color or race. Du Bois wrote eloquent and forceful articles in the magazine to report and denounce racial segregation and injustice. In 1919, the NAACP published a study on the lynching and racial violence of the previous 30 years. Members of the NAACP worked continuously for anti-lynching legislation, but it never passed.
In the first decade of the NAACP's existence, it didn't get a lot of attention. It was a small organization. It never had enough money. World War I changes that. The events of the war, the politics of race during the war send hundreds of thousands of members into the organization and really transform it into a mass membership organization.
By 1920, the NAACP had more than 300 local branches across the United States and almost 100,000 members. As their numbers grew, so did their impact. In the fight against Jim Crow and segregation, the NAACP would become one of the leading protest organizations in the United States.
So that's that.
Let's talk about rectifying or reactivating our hair follicles. I
don't care about your hair follicles, guy.
So that's the NAACP history.
Okay, so basically the NAACP was created to halt and interfere with the white people that were lynching the black people for no reason other than they didn't like the fact that they were getting businesses and being productive members of society.
Right.
You know what I find so crazy is the fact that the things that they call us now is they didn't. It's like an oxymoron.
Right.
Y'all want us to be independent, but every time we do good, y'all burn down our stuff or do something to make us not be successful. Is it a jealous spirit? Because we got to start thinking about this. Are they jealous of us? Because when we have opportunity, we do make do. And then even when we at the bottom of the barrel, Black folks can be in the poorest community and drive the best cars. We don't know how we do it, but we manage it some kind of way. We spend the most money on clothing. We spend the most. We are the people that drive the economy,
right?
But yet we can't own none of the economy,
right?
Righteously.
See, that's their way of checking the temperature. You see, of where we are, because you take Black Wall Street, we built that up. We left them alone. Whenever we leave them alone, we come up.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? When we integrated with them, that broke us back down.
That's because when we separate from them, they can't siphon our energy, and they realize they need us, and then they get mad because they don't want us, but they can't. That term "can't live with them, can't live without them" is Black people.
Right. Right.
That's where that term originally came from. Black, because y'all can't survive, y'all can't fight, you don't know how to wash your ass. Excuse me, this is a good channel.
Right.
Don't know how to wash your butt. Like we taught them everything that they know, and then they turned our knowledge on us. But that time is in, because I'm feeling like 2025 is going to be the year of enlightenment. And people are talking about revelation, but I think God is going to be revealing nations.
Right.
And he's going to let the truth be revealed. And they're really going to find out who's the stronger vessel. Because when they don't have their money or their credit score, and they put the same playing field, they can't win. They can't win. We stronger, we smarter, we know how to survive better.
Right.
Why kill themselves in 3 days if they can't eat, or if they credit score drop? I done been on a job where a woman was about to kill herself over a 70-point credit score drop.
Right.
Because that's how she identified herself, through her credit score.
Right.
And you will be surprised at how many of them have that mentality.
Right.
And so it's just it's crazy for how everything that we going through. It's like we damned if we do, we damned if we don't.
Right.
So
and now,
what is it that I guess we have to come up with a way to open our own door to miracles?
Right. That's why I say we got to do it. It ain't nothing gonna change. We waiting on them to do it. We have to stay on their necks, though.
Yep.
We have to have our people that will stay on their neck.
Serious. Right. And the only way they're gonna know we're serious is the ones who willing to die and fight together. Got to come together.
Right. That's right. And that's the best time to come together, when you ready to die.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen this way. I got one. I'm gonna show a video of the 1960s, the angry Black men where they was ready to die, or things gonna change. That's why you got civil rights. You know, these people were ready to go to war to get our rights straightened out in the 1960s.
A few minutes ago, just in the back of my head, my brain was saying, we need another Harriet Tubman. We need another Martin Luther King. And my energy, bro, like I'm really feeling like that spirit, bro. Like even in my everyday life, like one of the things I'm finna do, at the end of the month, you know, cause of my nonprofit and stuff, me and my babies that got nonprofits, we go feed the homeless people. Well, for 25, when I started going out there, I'm finna start taking my loudspeaker and my microphone and just start talking to the people and just talking and saying, hey, y'all, we need y'all, homeless or not, y'all voice, y'all energy matters. Like, what do we have to lose? They already done took everything.
Right.
So if we start fighting, there's nothing that they no more that they can do to us. Take our credit score, like we already fighting with everything we got.
Right. I told everybody that, check this out now. I told everybody that what Black people need to do, 40 million of us, it's 40 million of us, And we don't need to answer to African American no more because we don't deal with Africa. We ain't never been there. We don't know nothing about it. The new name, which Tariq Nasheed famous for, is Foundation Black Americans. Okay, we started this. We was born here. This is our country. This is our place.
We're indigenous to this land.
Right, we're a foundation. But the names, the legal name of us is Freedmen. That's who we come from. Those are our lineage. That's where our lineage come from. The Freedmen Bank, the Freedmen people, the Freedmen descendants. So that's our legal name. So they can't say we don't have a legal name no more. The Freedmen group or bank or lineage is us. Those are our people. Wow. If you go back into the history, the freedmen was us. We was the ones that were free.
They gave us a name to remind us of who we were. Freemen.
Right. Yeah. That's why they call us the Freedmen and Descendants, which is known now as Foundation Black Americans, FBA. That's what they call us now. That's the one that's what we need to advocate for. And get rid of this African American stuff, because that mix us in with everybody else. Well, and we don't know nothing about Africa.
Call us if they not finna do nothing. I ain't really caring about the title, what they call us, because ain't none of the titles really who we are, because we don't even know who the hell we are.
Oh yeah, we know. We know.
Based on look, we
got history.
Can't even have arguments without the loss of words, because we don't even have our own tongue, our own language. Every other nationality has their own language. We are the only people that don't have our native tongue.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Remember back in the day where they was talking about they had a rap song. Shizai Zizai. You remember that song? That was our language. That was how slaves communicated, through that language. I think it's called techno language, or it's some type of language that we use. That was our original language that we came up with during slavery. And that's how we communicated. So we do have our own language. We just don't use it now.
We need to be unified in it.
Right.
I remember.
Go ahead.
I got an uncle. He's probably about 70 something now, and I was telling him how I remembered when I was a kid. He used to say "K Sarah Sarah" when he was speaking, and he used a lot of terminology that was from the motherland, or either. I don't know if it came from Africa or if it was just the language of our people that kept our spirit lifted. Because most of the things for us that like speaking and stuff, all of it raises your vibration.
Right.
Sarah. Did I commercial?
Huh?
Did I commercial?
No. That's just me putting a little music in the background.
That was cute.
But go ahead. I'm listening to
you. Jamming, look. But no. K Sarah. And it's another one I'm trying to think of that he used to say. He would say greeting. Or salutations. I think that was the other word he used to use. Salutations. And so when people would come around my uncle and he would greet them like that, their energies would just be like happy duty. And I was a kid and I paid attention to that.
Right.
Because they would leave from the South Dallas streets, and when you came in to meet him, and he had a whole different lingo.
Right.
And it was like building up of the black man language. Like everything that he said spoke to your spirit, not your. And I think we need to get back to some of our old vocabulary and get away from these spelling words. Because our vocabulary kept us vocal. These spelling words casting spells on us, got us quiet.
Okay.
Shout out to my bro T-Bone. I got his t-shirt on, T-Bone in your mouth. Stand up.
I know that's right.
Yeah, that is my bro shirt right there. Bone in your mouth. Yeah.
I'm just texting, asking me who on with me tonight. I'm letting them know. Anyway, we'll go on to the next group right here. I was gonna talk about
gonna talk about Black Lives Matter.
This the one we going through next. This Urban League. Then we'll get to Black Lives Matter.
The Urban League.
The First World War, Black Americans lived in the shadow of Plessy v. Ferguson, the Supreme Court ruling that made separate but equal legal separation of races the law of the land. At the movies, in public waiting rooms, drinking fountains, and bars, Jim Crow, segregation, became an American way of life. In 1920's Seattle, in the economic bust that followed the industrial boom of World War I, there were barely 3,000 African Americans in this frontier town of the West. It was not the American South, but Plessy and racial attitudes had followed African Americans north, kept them marginalized, excluded from good industrial jobs, and from many neighborhoods, stores, and restaurants.
Hard times, hard.
In this reality, Black Americans created their own world of social life and entertainment, their own institutions. The Seattle chapter of the National Urban League, chartered in 1930 to focus on these issues, began the long and patient work of breaking down racial walls.
They set up all kinds of programs that were designed to improve the health of African Americans. They set up programs to provide recreational facilities for African Americans. But most importantly, they were involved in what I call job service. That is, trying to get employment, better employment for African Americans, trying to open up areas of employment that had been closed to African Americans before.
That is still the mission today in the headquarters building the League bought in 1972 to empower, enable, and assist African Americans and others of color.
There we go.
In becoming
right
self-sufficient.
I think we really are about helping people to become part of the American dream.
Hold on a minute.
People other than Black people.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They say they represent us, but then all of a sudden they create and others. And then the others get the benefits.
Off our
off our struggle. Just like all this money that's coming up here for immigrants, illegal immigrants, I'm gonna say that. They ain't supposed to be here. But they see how white supremacists forget all the laws they make. That's illegal. It's illegal for you to be here. But then they can't fix our communities. What they do? They go get them money. Come on, we got you. When you get over here, we got you.
So what white people are masters at doing is pitching people against each other and throwing the rock and hiding their hand. That's the way they said. They throw the rocks and hide their hand.
Right.
Like right now, they are infiltrating our community with Indians, Asians, and stuff of this nature. Mm-hmm. In the schools, you go to North Dallas right now, you see all the little Arabic kids with them things on, sitting out on the whole block in North Dallas. Like, and what's crazy, even in school, they separate. They all over here, all the Black kids over here, and whatever other nationality is over there.
Right.
They all go to school together, but they all separate. So this tells me that y'all are not trying to be a collective. Even in the school system, y'all have y'all own agenda. Like y'all are focused over here. And I wish that our children and our families would start paying attention that people are coming together and working together against us. And they're using all the other nationalities.
Right.
So that they can say, oh, we didn't do that.
Right.
That's the thing. And I wonder if the Urban League, the NAACP, the CBC. I wonder if they ever have a meeting all together to where the three were the people of those three or those four, the NAACP, CBC, all of them. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's ever a time when they come together collectively. Has anybody ever challenged them that I need to see the leaders of all of these things, because all this needs to be working in unison.
Right. Well, yeah. Let me show you a video here of how these CBC people in California did us on reparation. We could have got it this year, but watch this. Let's go over here. Let me go over here and show you. We do the California, then we'll click that back. Now, we just about had the bill passed, right, for reparation, the first time in history. And they get so close. Okay, this is what they were trying to do. Let me play this part. Get these ads off of here.
Are you tired of getting lowball cash offers for your house? We are on the hunt for houses built between 1950 and...
California's first-of-its-kind task force on reparations for Black Americans has submitted its final recommendations to the state legislature. The 1,200-page report is the result of 2 years of work, which looked at how the state can best atone for the impact of slavery and decades of racial discrimination. California's Secretary of State told reporters last week about the message they want to send.
It was important that we let people know that reparations is due whether you're in Mississippi or you're in California. That reparations is due, that the harm has been done.
Now look at these people. They sit here and look like they concerned. Look at them.
They don't
These
look
old,
bro.
Huh? You can't see them?
Them men in the back don't look concerned. Their face look tight and uptight.
That's what. Look, these are all old Negroes who been in there for 1,000 years and ain't done nothing. But here we go.
Like they're not concerned with nobody else because they already getting paid.
Right. Now, here we go. We got them. All these people are voted in. Okay. They have already got all their eggs in order. All they got to do is present the bill to the governor. Okay. Now watch what these people finna do. Watch this. Let me go over here. Now watch what they finna do. Where is it at? Okay, so they estimated to be 80 million to kick it off.
How much money should Black Californians receive after centuries of mistreatment? Today, economists told the state's reparations task force the number could top $800 billion. That's 2.5 times California's annual budget. And they say those calculations don't cover everything.
CBS 13's Shante Passmore is getting answers on the other disparities the task force says need to be addressed.
I want to talk about the most significant harm, and that is they took away who we are.
Can America make atonement for its dark history of slavery and the mistreatments of Black people fighting for freedom?
I was born in the cotton field. I was raised in the cotton fields.
80-year-old.
Now I want you to hear how they talking. Like they act like they really want it.
Cotton field, not raised in the cotton field.
Right. They act like they really want this to happen. I mean, they play this thing out for 2 years in California, acting like they want it. And then the day came, I'm going to get to the video where the day come and they drop the ball. And they do it in front of the folks. We're going to get to it. I'm just letting you hear this bull crap that they talking right now.
Bishop Henry Williams lived in the South. Now living in California, he knows he's only a few generations away from when his great-grandfather was enslaved.
Please go ahead. You have 2 minutes, and please speak into the mic.
The California Reparations Task Force met with economists to discuss payments, but what determines how much money should eligible Black Californians get? So far, the experts say they examined health harms, housing discrimination, and incarceration rates and over-policing. An AP article report it could cost the state $800 billion for payouts. However, a task force spokesperson refuted those claims, saying no dollar figure has been presented yet.
Well, reparations, when it comes to my mind, I think of the term repair. It's the operable term in reparations.
For the task force, restitution is part of reparations. It is not reparations.
We were just talking about Racial Justice Act and how that could totally turn around.
See, it was $800 billion. Now they trying to put it on, not pay the cash, pay something else.
On how many African Americans are ended up in the over-incarceration of Black people in the criminal justice system.
Once the task force submits its final report, do you think that state lawmakers have an appetite to look at some of the harms, to even look at some of the financial compensation recommendations?
Right now, even now, elected officials and legislators in the Senate and the Assembly are anxious to look at the harms.
The clock is ticking. A final report for lawmakers is due by June 30th.
Okay.
It's concert day, so let's get ready with Vivid Seeds.
So they end up getting up to that point. Let me find the video here. Let me see where they dropped the ball. Okay, it's leading on up to it.
Now to news making headlines in our state capital. Reparations for descendants of Black American slaves are now one step closer to becoming a reality here in California. This week, the first bill calling on the state to get the ball rolling on this matter was formally introduced in the state legislature. 17's Capitol correspondent Eitan Wallace spoke with the senator who authored that bill and explains why it could still be a while until we know what reparations will really look like here in the Golden State.
This will be the start.
An important start to the reparations process.
I see it, bro.
National Gardena Senator Stephen Bradford
look at him. This is the one who dropped the ball right here.
It is the first reparations-related bill introduced in the legislature since the State Reparations Task Force submitted its final 1,000-plus page recommendations report to the governor and lawmakers earlier this summer.
The reparations.
Among the task force's recommendations, a call for the state to create what's known as the California American Freedmen Affairs Agency.
They named
in charge one day overseeing and administering reparations to descendants of Black American slaves.
They know who we are.
In order to implement the reparations, whatever it looks like, you need a governmental agency or some type of oversight department to do so. So that's what this bill will do. Before you can even talk about what reparations look like, you have to put the infrastructure there.
As for what reparations will look like, lawmakers and the governor still need to hammer that out. But the Reparations Task Force received a lot of attention for its recommendation that the legislature consider what it described as down payments to go to descendants of anyone who was a Black American slave, as well as those in the Black community whose ancestors arrived before 1900. At one point, the proposal suggested if descendants meet a certain criteria for the wrongs they've endured, coupled with the amount of time they've lived in California, then they could be eligible for up to $1.2 million. But Bradford, himself a member of the task force, downplayed that, saying reparations are about much more than any dollar amount.
I think we lose the focus of what we're talking about if we only focus on money. Again, this was not about money. It was about, first a recognition of a debt that is owed to these descendants.
It's all about money. Where you go?
I'm right here listening. I'm looking at this ugly man.
It's all about money. He talking about it wasn't about money.
It was all about money. That's all they made off us.
That's right.
That's all they made off our people.
Yeah, the corporation.
And I know I had folks that was in slavery. My auntie got pictures and
stuff. Me too. Yeah, I got pictures. You know. So I'm just saying. He just said, let me back this up. This nigga here. Listen to what he say. Oh shit, I got to go.
How can it not be about money?
Right. What is he talking about? Listen at this silly ass.
We only focus on money. Again, this was not about money. It was about, first a recognition of a debt.
Now they don't know because they ain't been through it, so they don't know.
He talking about it's all about a debt that was paid. That's money. You know what I'm saying?
That's that double-tonguedness.
Yeah. See, that's what I said. That's when it first started. When he said that should have let everybody know, oh, this man's against what we're trying to do.
So got the NAACP, CBC. Who else?
This is the Black Caucus in California. They got several ones in different states. Yeah, CBC. Now, if this would have passed, it would have went all across the United States. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would have went all the way across the United States if this would have passed. And see, they was supposed to get 1.2 million apiece per member. 1.2 million. That's what we owe. That's the down payment. Now, what you think we could do with 1.2 million? All 40 million of us.
Collaborate.
Thank you. Let me go over here to this part where they dropped the ball.
So we got the NAACP, we got CBC, Black Lives Matter. Who else?
Listen at these so-called black people talk about it. They having a conversation
here in
now.
Boston, city government has established a task force to study reparations for Black residents. One of many similar groups across the U.S. grappling with the lasting impacts of slavery in this country. To discuss those efforts and the many complicated questions that surround the future of civil rights,
how they talk us right out our money.
Joined by two local scholars of African American history working to advance the conversation. Michael Curry is president and CEO of the Mass League of Community Health Centers.
And half these people don't nobody even know.
National board of the NAACP's directors.
But they represent
and
us.
Dr. Anthony Vandermeer, senior lecturer of Africana Studies at UMass Boston. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us.
Both of them look foreign, don't they?
I was very inspired by my colleague Callie Crossley, who
they look unconcerned
in a recent episode of Basic Black. Lifted up the fact that we are nearly 60 years removed from the 1963 March on Washington for Jobs and Justice. And I think it gets lost on people sometimes.
I got to get down here to the video.
That was a demonstration to bring economic equity to Black people and civil rights to Black people. Given that those were the urgent concerns of the day then, and by many measures, they still are the urgent concerns today, would you say that Black people have come a long way from that point? Have we progressed?
I'm going to elder statesman first.
Elder statesman first.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. If you live in some of the poor communities, that answer wouldn't be a good one. Where people aren't having the proper access to health care, where they're worried about public safety, they're worried about the way the police treat them, they're worried about the educational systems, they're worried about jobs that pay them a decent wage. And then if you live in the urban cities, you got to make a certain amount of money to even rent an apartment. So on one step that you would say we have a problem, on another step you can see where there's some people who have access, have a certain level of visibility, but that's not, all of us, and so, or at least enough of us. So we're in a really peculiar situation right now.
Michael Curry.
Yeah, it's funny. I find myself, especially since the convention's here and the lead up to the convention, people asking, aren't we a different?
Hold on, I got to get to where they messed up. Okay, here it is right here. Now, that's the same guy I was talking a while ago.
Over
Here we go,
reparations
right
at the
here.
California state capitol continues. Several bills failed to advance.
There it is. God damn it. God damn it. You done went off too. Shit.
For his two bills that would have created a state agency to oversee reparations efforts and a state reparations fund.
The community's upset, and rightfully so. But not only the communities of California, but all across the nation. They were counting on California to get this right.
On the final night of the legislative session, the California Legislative Black Caucus decided to block Bradford's bills from a final vote at the state capitol, claiming they did not have
But I
the
just want to
votes.
show y'all
The
how
move infuriated
they
reparations
dropped the
supporters
ball
who
on
said the
all
caucus
this.
was afraid of the governor's veto. Last month, Newsom's office suggested Bradford change the state agency bill into a $6 million study by the University of California. Bradford refused.
I didn't talk directly to anyone about those two bills.
Governor Gavin Newsom last week would not say exactly what happened with the specific proposals, but he criticized the reaction from reparations supporters and their treatment of the leader of the Black Caucus, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, who was doxxed online.
Oh,
she
there
did
you
not deserve to be attacked like she was attacked.
Okay.
Members of the Black Caucus did not deserve
Now listen
to be
how he's
attacked
talking to black
and their
people.
integrity impugned. That was
Look, he the one dropped the ball. Here we go. Remember him talking a while ago? Oh, shit,
Yeah.
you on here.
Go back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let me move it up a little bit. Now, that was the guy that was talking a while ago. He dropped the ball. Here he is right here. Right there. Let me get this.
That were blocked.
Mister, it's not about money.
Why not have a special session?
There he is,
on
right there.
reparations? I mean, I think that's worthy
Look
of
at him.
discussion and
Look how he
moving this,
grinning.
legislation forward this year.
State Senator
Lying.
Stephen Bradford floating the idea of a special legislative session on reparations. This
Now he want to do another study on the money. He dropped the ball on purpose, right? He didn't.
He don't want black people to be on his level. He don't want us to have no money because he don't want us to be able to get in his neighborhood.
Right, he dropped the ball for $1.2 million. Black people, each person that's descendant of slave would have got 1.2 million as a down payment, which means other checks was coming.
Wow.
And he blocked that for black people. He did it. And then the governor told him to do it. All this is coming out.
That's our whip right there. That's our whip.
Yeah, the governor. I'm right here. You'll see him. Hold on. Let me get back over here. And then he gonna try to score the black people for getting mad about it. Watch him.
following the fallout over his two bills that would have created a state agency to oversee reparations efforts and a state reparations fund.
The community's upset, and rightfully so. But not only the communities of California, but all across the nation.
Now, don't he look like he got a smile on his face because it didn't pass? Look at this man. Don't he look like he got a smile because it didn't pass?
He just looked like a person who is not for black people. His energy just doesn't give me his energy. I can't see his smile or nothing, but I can read his energy, and his energy does not give me for the people. His energy gives me, I don't want them niggas living next door to me.
Right. And watch what happened here. Now he made sure the two bills didn't go through. And then he turned around and say this. Watch this.
They were counting on California to get this right.
On the final night of the legislative session, the California Legislative Black Caucus decided to block Bradford's bills from a final vote at the state capitol, claiming they did not have the votes. The move infuriated reparations supporters who said the caucus was afraid of the governor's veto. Last month, Newsom's office suggested Bradford change the state agency bill into a $6 million study by the University of California. Bradford refused.
I didn't talk directly to anyone about those two bills.
Governor Gavin Newsom last week.
And he lying. He lying right here, telling that big old lie.
When he put his hands up, he was lying.
Right.
Whenever that is a sign. When people doing that, that's a sign of surrender, and that's like blocking energy. That's like when I give you the hand.
Right.
That separates them. That's like a doorway. That's like a separation, emotionally detaching from whatever is going on when they do this.
Right. And
I know body language communication like a mug. They lying.
Right. Yeah, they lying.
They lying, straight up lying.
It's all coming out now.
Somebody didn't talk to them. The hell you didn't.
Yeah.
Somebody got a late midnight call. The deal
right.
fast. You niggers, there's gonna be another pitchfork on your front yard.
Now, see, the reason why Kamala Harris lost her deal is because of this thing that happened right here. Black people said we don't fool with Democrats after this, and they showed them that they weren't gonna win crap. They lost. Most of these people lost their jobs as senators and all this here. And congressman, because this crap right here. Now listen at what he said. Now watch him try to scorn black people for getting mad about it. Watch this.
Week would not say exactly what happened with the specific proposals, but he criticized the reaction from reparations supporters and their treatment of the leader of the Black Caucus, Assemblymember Lori Wilson, who was doxxed online.
She did not deserve to be attacked like she was attacked. Members of the Black Caucus did not deserve to be attacked and their integrity impugned. That was disgraceful.
Our ancestors have to be greatly.
He said you niggas acting like niggas against your own niggas.
60 plus years for reparations.
Now listen to him.
It was right here in our hands, and we dropped the ball.
Look at it. You
know, Governor Gavin Newsom is the
only one. Look how he said we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball.
Right.
Like goody. I dropped the ball. You bitches thought y'all finna get some money? No.
Here you go again. Look at him. Watch
right
this.
Here in our hands, and we dropped the ball.
Look at him.
Now, Governor Gavin Newsom
it was a smirk on his face.
He likes saying that.
It was an underlying smirk. He said that shit about 3 times just to feel good.
Right. But anyway, we done went over an hour. We about 8 minutes over. I thank you for joining me tonight. We'll get some more.
Thank you, bro.
Later on in the week.
It was my pleasure, Mr. Frank Blanton.
Yeah, we had a good time going over this. I wanted to be a little more detailed, but hey, at least
now we done got it off our chest. So we can always run it back and bring it back and and talk more about it because it's still something that need to be brought up.
Right. But we are gonna deal with this DFW issue with this DISD lady. So we're gonna
because that's important. That's really important because she's trying to stop us from having freedom of education to where we want to go to school. She doesn't want us to have the ability to send our kids to charter schools, private schools, or whatever our choice is for the education. And then, that's gonna be I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay. Well, I'll be working on that this week. Hopefully by Thursday night, maybe Friday night, we'll get back on it.
Already.
I appreciate you being on the show. We're gonna bump a little music and go on out of here.
Well, I want to thank you for having me on your platform, and for the viewers that are watching this, share this message because we want to help in your community.
Right. Thank you.